wrapped up the AFC yesterday. Did all 4 of those divisions, so we're heading into the NFC starting today, and we are going to start with the NFC East. And our first team we are going to be talking about is, America's team, baby, Dallas Cowboys. What did they do last season? Well, they went 8-8 and were this close to making the playoffs, but it came down to that week 16 meeting against the Eagles. They lose that game. They fall to 7-8. They don't make the playoffs just because of this game. If they win this game, they're in. If they don't, if they lose it, they're not in it. And what do? They put up 9 points. We're kind of going to see that a little bit. Let's break down their schedule. So 8-8 is not great. You're not going to make the playoffs unless you win the division. So you kind of have to hope other teams in your division are trash, which they kind of were last year. Philly making it with 9-7, being the number 1 seed, and then you still have Giants and Washington in that division who are non-competitors. You can put them away. So your main competition against the Eagles, you beat them early in the season. Well done. We'll give you that. But then when it actually mattered, you don't. Not great. So they beat the Giants, Washington, and Miami. 3 not good teams. They should have won them. Then they beat the Eagles. That's a good win. That's a quality win, division win. We can count it. They beat the Giants. Once again, this Giants team is sorry. They started Daniel Jones. He's Daniel Jones. We'll get into him. We will talk about the Giants. Detroit, once again, not a great team. I mean, Matt Patricia, I don't think can coach in the league. Matthew Stafford is kind of just a little better than average, but he's not going to win the big games. They beat the Rams. That's a good win. I can give them that. Good, solid win there. But and then their final win is against the Redskins. So 2 quality wins. And then let's look at these losses, right? The Saints not beating a quality team. Packers not beating a quality team. You lose against the Jets. Not great. And I don't even think Sam Darnold playing week 6? I'm not sure. I don't think he was. I think he was still out with mono during that week. They lose to the Vikings. So once again, losing to good teams, beating bad teams. Not great, not great. Lose against the Patriots, lose against the Bills. Then you lose against the Bears. Mitch Trubisky's Bears. You lose against them. Not great. Not great. And then you finish off with the Eagles loss. So let's get into Dak's stats because they are kind of impressive. If you're just looking at Dak's numbers, they are very impressive. Last year, 65% completion. Fantastic. I love it. I love it. I love it. 4,900 yards. Jesus. This close to 5,000 yards. 5,000 yards passing club is kind of elite. Drew Brees has done it multiple times, but nobody else has done it more than once. We get Tom Brady in there, kind of a short list of 5,000 yards passing. Kind of getting a little corrupt a little bit because Jameis Winston's in it, so kind of tainting that 5,000 yard club just a little bit, but it's still there. That 5,000 yards passing is an elite club. So Dak Prescott this close from there. And then 30 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. Fantastic. That's almost 3-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. You want to be at least 2-to-1. He made it to 3-to-1 last year, but they just didn't translate to wins. And when we look at the scores of these games, we can find out why. They put up 35 points against Giants, 31 points against the Washington Redskins, and 31 points against the Dolphins. Huge numbers. Look at these. 4, 7, 9 touchdowns in 3 games. Those were all these numbers are coming from. But then when they face a little bit of better competition, what do? 10 points against the Saints. No touchdowns. 24 points against the Packers. I can respect that. That's fine. 2 touchdowns. That's good. But then we go to the Vikings. Once again, 24 points. A little light of what they've been showing. Still 24 points is good, though. So I will not knock them on that. But then we get here. New England, 9. Bills, 15. You put up 24. Only 24 against the Bears. Why not more? And then in their last game against the Eagles, they put up 9. So they're putting up tons of points here against not so great teams. 47 against the Redskins. I will give them the 44 against the Rams. That is good. That's very good. 44 points against the Rams. But, against good competition, their points drop kind of dramatically. You've got to kind of clean it up a little bit on the defensive end. They're giving up a lot of points as well, just not scoring enough. So just got to get it done offensively. Dak, I mean, the numbers are there, man. And Ezekiel Elliott in the backfield, 1,300 yards, 12 touchdowns overall, very good. They've got the weapons. Amari Cooper, obviously, he loves. So let's get into who they've lost going into the season. They lose Tavon Austin and Randall Cobb, 2 good weapons for them. Jason Witten, he's out of his element anyway. He's done. He's over. His career's over. He tried broadcasting. That didn't work out, so he comes back to Dallas. That really didn't work out, so they move him out. It's not a big loss. They lose Robert Quinn and Michael Bennett on the line, and they lose Byron Jones, possibly their best cornerback on the defensive end of the ball. But they add Andy Dalton, solid backup. I think this is a perfect fit for Andy Dalton. They bring in Everson and Griffin for an edge rusher. Good pickup there. They bring in Gerald McCoy and Dontari Poe, both defensive tackles, to make up for that loss of Robert Quinn and Michael Bennett. And they also fire their coach, which I think is a good thing. Not a big Jason Garrett fan, kind of not really a head coach, just I don't really know what he is. He's always kind of, he's Mr. Claps. I mean, we all know the memes of him just clapping. That's kind of his identity, just clapping. All right, yes, that's good. That's good. I don't really know how to coach these players, but that's good. All right, good game, even though we lost. All right, good game. We can move forward. We can kind of build off this. Good job. Oh, we lost the game. All right, good job. Good job. Oh, we won the game. Good job. All right, good practice today. Y'all really showed a lot of heart. Good job. But, that's what I just blanked on his name. Jason Garrett is. So they bring in Mike McCarthy, decent coach. He won a Super Bowl with the Packers. Good job there. He coached Aaron Rodgers. Some decent seasons, some not so good seasons. He went 13-3, 12-4, but he also had the 10-6, the 9-7s. So a little hit and miss there, but he knows how to coach big level quarterbacks, big talent level quarterbacks. Dak Prescott's not there just yet, but he should be able to do something with Dak Prescott. I think he is an upgrade from Jason Garrett, no doubt. But if you believed all the rumors of why he got kicked out of the Packers, having private massages in his office and really not taking practices and games too seriously, if those rumors are true, they're hilarious. Hopefully they're not. So not a great coach, decent coach, I would say. Level tier 2 coach, no doubt. He knows how to win. He knows how to win championships. He knows how to kind of manage high-level quarterbacks with Aaron Rodgers, and now he's got Dak Prescott. So I think overall it's an upgrade in head coach, so I do like that. They added another weapon for Dak Prescott, so they drafted CeeDee Lamb from Oklahoma. Great wide receiver, 1,300 yards, 14 touchdowns, absolutely fantastic. So now you're going to have to defend. You've got Amari Cooper, who's a high-level talent, and then you're bringing in this rookie CeeDee Lamb, who's also a high-level talent. Dak, he's going to have the weapons, so you have to improve on this 8-8 season. You have to start beating some of the tougher teams, Dak. You can't just, hope that your schedule's super easy and take advantage of the weaker teams. So we are going to see how Dak Prescott is going to perform the season. I hope it's good. We'll check out his schedule in just a second. And then they also kind of beef up their defense through the draft. They get Trevon Diggs, cornerback from Alabama, 3 picks, 1 pick 6. Well done. And also, if you're playing for Alabama, you're already a good elite talent. And so shoring up their offense, shoring up their defense, kind of just all around. I mean, they've got good talent on the offensive side of the ball. Dak, Elliott, CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup. That's a good third option as receiver, if I would say so. And then their defensive end of the ball is still kind of good. Sean Lee, the captain of that linebacking core. You get Xavier Woods in the safety position, and then you bring in Trevon Diggs. We'll see how he develops as a player on a big brand team. It's not going to be easy, but if anybody can get it done, I think it could be Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott. Why not, right? All right, so let's check out their schedule this year and mark their wins. Are they going to be better than 8-8? Let's find out. All righty, they have to open up at the Rams, Sunday Night Football, 8:20 tip. I'll give them a win here. I don't know if the Rams are that great. They do have to go on the road. New coach, Mike McCarthy, Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott. I think overall they're a little bit more talented than the Rams. Still not sure if we buy Jared Goff just yet. Sean McVay is also, also a very good coach. He got a lot of credit, a lot of media attention, kind of dropped off a little bit from there. We'll see if he can make it up. I think he can. He does seem like a smart guy to me. But, this is going to be a primetime game to kick off the season, and the Cowboys are going to have to be ready. I think they will be. So this is going to be a close game. This is going to be a good game to watch, definitely. But I think the Cowboys can pull it off. So I am going to give them a win against the Rams. We'll give them a win against the Falcons. Probably not going to beat Seattle at home. They can beat the Browns. They can beat the Giants because that Giants team is sorry. The Cardinals, that's going to be an interesting game, but they are at home, so we can give them a win there. They beat the Redskins. They are going to split against the Eagles, so we won't give them the away game there. Even though this is a Sunday night game as well. So a lot of primetime games. We get Monday Night Football for the Cardinals, Sunday Night Football against the Eagles, and then Sunday Night Football to open up the season. The Pittsburgh Steelers at home. Yeah, once again, that Steelers defense is very, very good. But, they're going into Cowboys Stadium. We'll see if Dak Prescott can hold up. Going into the bye, I may give them one win either against the Steelers or Vikings. They'll win one of these games. I think they win the Steelers game coming out of the bye. They should be prepared, but they do have to go to Minnesota. I think they lose that game. But they beat the Redskins. They lose against the Ravens. They beat the Bengals. They lose against the 49ers. They split against the Eagles, and then they beat the Giants. So 10-6, not bad. I mean, you're upgrading 2 wins. That's exactly what you want to see. And in this division, 10-6 really kind of wins you the division every single year. So decent season, no doubt. Opportunities for an 11th win would probably come against the Vikings. But other than that, I don't know if they can reach 12. 12 is going to be a little hard. Their schedule's decent. Their hardest opponents are the Seahawks. Who else we got? Seahawks, maybe Cardinals. It's really depending on how well Kyler Murray is going to do. But I won't put them in the best category yet. They're kind of that tier 2, but Seahawks are in that tier 1 category. I would maybe even put the Vikings in that tier 1 category. Ravens are obviously there. 49ers are obviously there. So 4 tough opponents, no doubt, that probably they don't get the wins about, but you have to face the Giants twice and the Redskins twice. Those are 4 easy games. You face the Bengals. You face the Browns, who have a lot of talent, but a new head coach, and you still got Baker Mayfield at the quarterback position, so really anything could happen. So workable schedule, winnable schedule, and that's what the Cowboys want to see. So we'll see how their talent all comes together heading into first season under Mike McCarthy. But our official prediction will be 10-6 for the Cowboys. Well done. We'll see if that's going to hold up and if that is going to allow them to win the division. Because to get a wild card spot in the NFC, you kind of need to be around that 11 win mark. I don't know if the Cowboys can really get there, so they are going to have to count on winning the division. So let's see how the rest of it shakes out. All right, the next team we're going to go to is the Giants, one of the 2 non-competitive teams in the NFC East. They went 4-12 last year under Pat Shurmur. Well, they get rid of Pat Shurmur. They bring in Joe Judge, who, if you've never heard of him, there's a reason, because he's the special teams coach on the Patriots, so that's a plus. But special teams coach? They liked what they saw on the kickoff and punt return, I guess. So Giants, they hang their future on a special teams coordinator. Yes, he was part of the Patriots team. He was a special teams coordinator for the last 9 seasons. But the Giants like what they see. I don't know that that's a good hire. You're managing a lot of players who are fighting and struggling to stay on a team. That's where you earn your spot. If you are not a superstar, you earn it on special teams. So they liked what they saw coaching his special teams abilities. I really don't know what to call it. I don't think it's great. I wouldn't hire him, I don't think. But the Giants see something in him. And, we're going to be rooting for Joe Judge, the special teams coordinator. Riddle me that. I don't know. All right. Let's get into who they've got already. They've got Daniel Jones. He started 12 games, 3,000 yards. decent in 12 games, not bad. 62% completion percentage, that's good. I can get behind that. 24 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. That's that 2-to-1 ratio you want to see. So overall, not bad. He's got Saquon in the backfield. He rushed for 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns last season. He also caught 400 yards receiving, adding 2 touchdowns. So, the weapons in that are not bad. Daniel Jones, he's going to have to prove himself here his second year. And Saquon is one of the best running backs in the league. I think we can all agree on. All right, so they lose Eli Manning. Obviously, he retires. They lose Alec Ogletree, kind of key defensive piece for them. And they lose Cody Lattimore, receiver, so that's going to be a weapon that Daniel Jones does not have. And they lose Antoine Bethea in the safety position, another decent defender for them. They add Logan Ryan to kind of make up for that, and they add James Bradbury. So 2 cornerbacks kind of want to shore up that defense just a little bit, and then they shore up the line through the draft. They draft an offensive tackle from Georgia in the first round. All right, not adding weapons for Daniel Jones, that's whatever. But they do have Golden Tate and Sterling Shepard already. Not overall high, they're not the tier 1 receivers, but, decent tier 2 receivers, I would say, Golden Tate and Sterling Shepard. They also drafted a safety from Alabama in the second round, so once again shoring up that defense. And then they still have Jabril Peppers, third year in. We'll see if he's able to kind of be a leader here for this kind of young and developing Giants team, defensive side at least. Third year from Michigan. We'll see how he's going to do. But 4-12 last year, new head coach, not a lot of weapons on offense. Defense is kind of young, so we'll see how all that plays out. I don't expect a lot of wins. Let's see how easy their schedule is. All right, they have to face Pittsburgh Steelers, Monday Night Football, 7:15. They're at home, which is good for them, but I'm going to take Big Ben in that fantastic defense. You got Minkah Fitzpatrick, one of the best safeties in the league. He may just eat Daniel Jones alive in this game. So the one silver lining is they're at MetLife Stadium. That's good. But, Monday Night Football, return of Big Ben, trying to get back to their dynasty that they've created, Mike Tomlin and him. Deep playoff runs, but, 1 Super Bowl. 1 Super Bowl, 2 Super Bowls? 2 Super Bowls, right? I think he's got 2. 2 rings. Does Big Ben have 2 rings? That is what I want to know. Let me check that real quick. Let's see. 2 rings. That's what I thought. All right. Yeah, 2 rings for Big Ben. I'll take that over Daniel Jones, even though Big Ben is coming off an injury. All right, so they don't beat the Steelers. They have to go against Chicago. I mean, Chicago's obviously not good. They're starting Mitch Trubisky. That is breaking news. I forgot to bring that up. I think that broke yesterday. But they're rocking with Mitch Trubisky over Nick Foles, and it's you hate to see it. You hate to see it if you're a Chicago's fan. Both of those quarterbacks really aren't good in the regular season anyway, so you're kind of taking the best out of a bad situation. Nick Foles couldn't really push Mitch Trubisky. That's why they waited this long to make a decision. They also broke it on Friday towards the end of the day so nobody could talk about it. It's just going to get lost in the shuffle. That's when you want to break not so great news, is on a Friday towards the end of the day so you don't get that media cycle. It's a 24-hour media cycle here, and by Monday everybody will forget it. But Mitch Trubisky is starting for the Bears, so that is good for the Giants, but I don't think the Giants are overall better than the Bears, and the Bears are not that great. So maybe give them a loss here. Maybe if it was at home, I could give them a win, but they have to go to Chicago. Not going to be a win. They're not beating the 49ers. They're not beating the Rams. They're not beating the Cowboys. They could beat the Redskins. I can give that. The Redskins getting rid of all their talent. They just lost Adrian Peterson, who is old, but we will talk about them. Not next. We will close out with them. But overall, they've got no talent either. So I'll take Daniel Jones over Dwayne Haskins, I think. I really don't like what Dwayne Haskins is. I don't like what he's shown in his short 7-game stint in Washington. But I will take Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley to win this game. So they beat the Redskins. They probably don't split against the Eagles. They're not beating the Bucs. They're not beating the Redskins. They're not beating the Eagles. I don't think they split against any of these teams. No. They do beat the Redskins. I think they can win both of those games. They don't split against the Eagles, and they don't split against the Cowboys. They lose both of those. Cincinnati, not great because Joe Burrow is going to be a little acclimated here. This is towards the end of the season. They do have to go into Cincinnati. The one good thing about this game is they're coming off of a bye, so they're going to have extra time to prepare. But I think overall, Joe Burrow is going to get it done later in the season. He's going to feel good, comfortable in the offense. I think the Bengals win the game. Seahawks, they're not going to beat them. Cardinals, they probably don't beat them. Browns, there's a lot of talent on that team. They don't beat the Browns. They don't beat the Ravens, and they don't beat the Cowboys. So not a great overall season for the Giants. 2-14, stepping back from their 4-12. I mean, you can maybe make a third win argument against the Bengals. Fourth win option would be against the Bears, so those would be their 4 wins if they could get them. I don't really see a fifth win. Maybe if Big Ben's not looking good, they steal the home opener against the Steelers, maybe, and then they win 5 games, but still nowhere near where they need to be for the playoffs. You have to face the Cowboys twice. You have to face the Eagles twice. You have to face the 49ers, the Rams, the Bucks, the Cardinals, the Ravens, the Seahawks. Tough opponents that they're not going to be able to win. Really no chance to win. So not a great schedule for this kind of rebuilding Giants team, but Joe Judge can try and develop a winning culture, try and win some of these easier games, get everybody's confidence up heading into the 2021 season, kind of figure out what you're missing on the offensive side and defensive side, bring it all together, and try to make a wild card run in 2021. But 2-14, I think it is. Maybe even 3-13 I would go, but not a great Giants team overall. All right, now we go to the Eagles. All right, this division has always been between the Eagles and the Cowboys ever since the Washington Redskins and the Giants have really lost all sense of themselves. So here we go. Eagles, 9-7 last year. They got into the playoffs because they beat the Cowboys in that game. So let's see what they did. They still have... Carson Wentz, 4,000 yards last season, 64% completion percentage, 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. That's almost 4-1. Absolutely magnificent. And he played all 16 games, and he got to the playoffs, and he played in the playoffs. But once again, the injury bug shows up somewhere first quarter of that playoff game against the Seahawks. He goes down with a head injury and out. So once again, the man can't stay healthy even when he goes the entire 16 games. He gets injured in the playoffs. Classic Carson Wentz, injury-ridden Carson Wentz. That is where this Eagles team just flops, man. Carson Wentz cannot stay healthy. His numbers are good. 64% completion, 4,000 yards. Very good. 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Magnificent. I can get behind that all day and tomorrow. 4-1 touchdown to interception ratio is truly, truly fantastic. Just the man cannot stay healthy, and it sucks. They lose the wild card. Their defense held the Seahawks to 17 points in that game. If you have Carson Wentz healthy in that game, they probably score more than 9, and they may win that game. So Carson Wentz, he just can't be relied upon, and that is truly, truly unfortunate. Alrighty. So let's see their schedule and what they did last season. Let's see who they beat. They beat the Redskins. That's good. They beat the Packers. They beat the Jets. They beat the Bills. Very good. They beat the Giants, the Redskins. They beat the Cowboys and Giants. So 2 good wins. Competitive against the Falcons, 4-point loss there. They shouldn't have lost to that Detroit team. They did only lose by 3, but you still lose to Matt Patricia. Not great. Not really competitive in that Vikings game. That's not great. You lose by 18. What else do we got? Kind of competitive against the Patriots, but also, you only put up 10 points. You only put up 9 points once again against the Seahawks. Your defense kind of, doing what they're supposed to do, holding them to under 20 points. But, when you're not outscoring them, you're going to lose, obviously. So not bad overall by this. They were kind of really riddled with injuries throughout the entire season. Receivers getting injured, their defense getting injured, and they were still kind of making it work. 9-7, making the playoffs. Just Carson Wentz not getting injured. All right, they do have a lot of key losses. They lose Jordan Howard, running back, decent running back there. They lose Nelson Aguilar, wide receiver, weapon for Carson Wentz. They lose Ronald Darby, key defender for them, and they lose Malcolm Jenkins on the safety position. They add Marquise Goodwin, so that would be a weapon for Carson Wentz, but he says, hey, this whole COVID thing, I'm out. So even though they get a good wide receiver, he's opting out of the season. And they do get Darius Slay, good quarterback or cornerback from the Lions. So, good defensive piece there they're adding. They do add Jalen Reagor, wide receiver from TCU. Not really sure what they saw in him, but he had 600 yards and 5 touchdowns last season. Not great. I mean, TCU is not a top-tier football program, so he's obviously not going to be putting up a ton of yards and a ton of points. But, first-round pick, a little questionable there. And then they do bring in a backup quarterback, Jalen Hurts. I'm not a big fan of Jalen Hurts, but when you have Carson Wentz, you have to have a good, solid backup. That may be what Jalen Hurts is. He got beat out from Alabama by Tua. He goes to Oklahoma, has a decent season there, and he gets him drafted. So I guess, we give, Jalen Hurts some credit there for being drafted at least and making it work when you get beat out of Alabama. But I don't think he's a starter. He could be a good backup, which Philadelphia obviously needs. They have Miles Sanders. He's going to be starting at running back for the Eagles. 800 yards, 3 touchdowns last season. Not terrible. Decent. And then they still have Deshaun Jackson. Good, reliable there. Great speed for a wide receiver and can get behind the defense whenever he wants. And then they have reliable tight end Zach Ertz. So weapons, not great, decent weapons. Carson Wentz has proven that he doesn't really need elite weapons to win games. He just needs to stay healthy, and that is going to be the main factor that the Eagles are going to really be stressing. Health. Carson Wentz, do not get injured. Carson Wentz, do not get injured. Carson Wentz, hey, good touchdown. Don't get injured, though. We have to say it every game. I mean, because you'll get injured at the end of the season, the middle of the season, or in the playoff game, your first one that you're playing in. So that cannot happen, Carson Wentz. Stay healthy, please. All right, let's see if they are going to win 10 games and compete with the Cowboys here. Let's see what they've got. Alrighty, going to beat the Redskins. Probably won't beat the Rams. It's in Philly, so that is a little bit better for them, but I am going to count that as a loss. They beat the Bengals early on. Joe Burrow's really not having his feet set. Not beating the 49ers. Pittsburgh at home. That's tough. Very tough. I'm big on this Pittsburgh defense, man. Probably don't win that game. Probably don't beat the Ravens. They can beat the Giants. They split against the Cowboys, so they win the game at home against the Cowboys. They sweep the Giants. They can compete with the Browns. I'll give them a win against the Browns. Don't beat the Seahawks. We saw that they can't last season. They faced them twice and put up 9 points both times. So can't give them a win against the Seahawks. Can't give them a win against the Packers. Can't give them a win against the Saints. Wow, they've got a tough schedule to close out the season. And then they have to go to Arizona. That's tough too, man. That's tough. I'll give them a win just for the sake because they're running out of wins here. We'll give them a win against the Cardinals, and then they'll end the win against the Redskins. But that's 8 wins, and they have a tough schedule. We'll officially mark it as 8-8 for the Eagles. They've got what is going on? All right, here we go. We're back. Look at these tough games. Rams, 49ers, Ravens, Seahawks, Packers, Saints, Cowboys twice. Tough games. You may even want to put the Steelers in there as a tough opponent. Steelers and Rams kind of in that tier 2, just kind of towards the top of the tier 2 category. So just overall tough schedule for the Eagles, especially late in the season. Look at this 4-game stretch, or maybe even extended to 5, because Cleveland does have a lot of talent. It's just how far is that new coach and Baker Mayfield going to take them? But Browns, Seahawks, Packers, Saints, Cardinals, and then the Cowboys in Dallas. This is a tough stretch to close out the season. And, this is where the playoffs are won late in the season. Go and claim your spot. I don't think they can. The Cowboys do have an easier schedule, maybe in a better overall team. Eagles not looking great, taking a step back from 9-7 from last year, going 8-8 this year. If you want to find a ninth win, probably against either the Steelers or the Browns. Tough. It's just tough. This is a tough schedule for them. They can't control it. They do have to kind of take advantage early. Try to go 3-0 because the next 3 games are going to be tough. So try to go 3-0 and then 3-3 and then try to go 4-4 into the bye. That would be their best case scenario. 4-4, 5-3 if you can beat the Giants and the Cowboys back to back. I think you can beat the Giants. It's just going to depend on that Cowboys game, whether you go 4-4 or 5-3 heading into the bye, and it's going to make a key difference. Attitude, the locker room, buying into each other, all that matters going into a bye week. Whether you win or whether you lose, whether you have a good record, a winning record, or a 4-4, 5-3, that's going to depend. That's going to be huge for setting the tone for the rest of the season. That gets very tough after the bye. So, Eagles, I wouldn't celebrate, man. I wouldn't celebrate. 8-8, not great. All right, then we have to finish off with the Washington Redskins on this sorry organization. They don't even have a name. That's really all I should say. This team doesn't even have a name, so they go 0-16. Not great. They lose Jay Gruden, which is a plus, and they bring in Ron Rivera, which is another plus. I'll give them all that. But they're rocking with Dwayne Haskins still. 7 games last season, 58% completion. That's not good. 1,300 yards, decent, not great, not good, just decent. 7 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, awful. You cannot be 1-1. You cannot be 1-1. You could be 1-1 if you're putting up like 30 touchdowns. But then you get Jameis Winston, 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. And what does that do? That's an 8-8 season. So, still 1-1 will never work in the league. Dwayne Haskins, I don't think, is a starting quarterback. I don't think he's going to be good. They lose Vernon Davis. They lose Jordan Reed. So 2 safety blankets at the tight end position for Dwayne Haskins. They lose Adrian Peterson, a trusted veteran. They lose 3 offensive linemen. They lose Quinton Dunbar. They lose Josh Norman. They lose Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie. So they lose 3 offensive linemen. They lose basically all their corners, all their talent, getting them out of there, trying to really rebuild this franchise literally from the top because there's so many scandals going up on that front office. And then on the field, the product is not great either. They do add Kyle Allen, decent backup. We saw what he did in Carolina, kind of took over the world by storm just for a short period of time. They bring in Ronald Darby to shore up the defense of what they lost. They bring in Ronald Darby, and Kendall Fuller, 2 good cornerbacks, so they make up for what they've lost. And then they add Cody Lattimore. We saw he left the Giants. They bring in the Washington, bring him in for Dwayne Haskins. Just once again, not great talent, but what did they get in the draft? Oh boy, they got a gem in the draft, baby. Chase Young. Oh boy, second pick, first round. He's going to be very, very good, man. 16 sacks last year for Ohio State. Just a true monster. We showed some of his stuff in practice in those Twitter videos maybe last week. He's looking real good. He is going to be the heart and soul of this Washington defense. That's not too great overall. Dwayne Haskins has no real weapons to work with. This team is going to be very sorry. Them and the Giants, kind of the same. The Giants just have a little bit more talent. Good running back, good running back, decent quarterback, where the Washington really have none of that. None of that. So we'll see how Ron Rivera does. That is probably the best personnel on this Washington team is the coach. And you're not going to win games like that. So let's get into their schedule here. What do they got? They really need an easy schedule if they want to have any chance here. Alrighty, probably they're not going to beat the Eagles. They're not going to beat the Cardinals. They're not going to beat the Browns. They're not going to beat the Ravens. They're not going to beat the Rams. Maybe they split against the Giants, but they don't win the home one. So they lose that one. They're not going to beat the Cowboys. So going into the bye, what is that, 0-8? 0-7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 0-7 into the bye. And then they get their first win against the Giants. They may be able to compete with the Lions, but they lose because they are in Detroit. They're not going to beat the Bengals because Joe Burrow is going to be good by then, late in the season. You're not splitting against the Cowboys. You're not beating the Steelers. You're not beating the 49ers. You're not beating the Seahawks. You're not beating the Panthers. You're not beating the Eagles. You're not splitting against the Eagles. So this Washington team is very, very bad. Really from the top down. Dan Snyder, probably the worst owner in the league. Ron Rivera is a good coach, but you can only do so much. You lost so much on your defense. You're losing veterans. Vernon Davis, Jordan Reed, Adrian Peterson. Those are all veterans that can kind of help you in the rebuilding phase, and you get rid of them. Don't understand that. Yeah, your defense, Quentin Dunbar, Josh Norman, and DRC. I mean, that's your entire cornerback core. Yeah, you bring in Ronald Darby and Kendall Fuller, who are decent, no doubt, but learning a new system, not great. Chase Young, that's going to be really the standout here, but from the defensive end position, you can only do so much. So 1-15 maybe. A second win would have to. I mean, if you're looking for a second win, did I just close out that tab? Or no, right here. All right, a second win, if we could find one, it would have to be against the Lions or the Bengals. You would have to beat the Giants twice. But that's really it. So in a perfect world for this Washington team, they beat the Giants twice, so that's 2 wins. They beat the Lions and they beat the Bengals. Was that 4 wins in a perfect world? In the best case scenario, this team maybe you split against the Eagles. So in a perfect world, everything's going right for this Washington team. They go 5-11, but I don't see that happening at all. I don't think Dwayne Haskins is going to really show us anything that he hasn't already shown us. I don't think Ron Rivera can even fix them. I'm not big on Dwayne Haskins, so I got this Washington team going 1-15. I'll stick by that. Not great. So Cowboys 10-6, they win the division. Eagles may be able to compete, but 8-8 is really what they're looking like. And then the Giants and Washington are really just 2 sorry teams in this league right now. Giants are a little bit further in their rebuilding process, while Washington is really just starting from scratch this season. So that's going to be our NFL refresher today with the NFC East. Now we have to close out our show with our money maker, y'all. What do we got? Didn't hit yesterday, unfortunately. We hit one, Heat +5, which is always a given, and we took the Lakers -6, which did not work out for us. But we have 2 more playoff games today, so let's talk about that real quick. Raptors-Celtics. Raptors able to get the win, but it was a late second buzzer beater with 0.5 seconds left. Celtics should have won the game. They scored. They should have scored last. So they should have won by 2. I still think this team is the Celtics team is better. This spread is probably going to stay around 2. It was 2 last time. Probably still Celtics +2, and I still think we take it. We predicted the series as 4-1. Raptors, they were able to win a game on a late second buzzer beater. That's not a good convincing win to me, so we will stick with the Celtics in that regard. And then the Nuggets, Clippers just blowing out the Nuggets. We knew that would happen. Nuggets have to switch up their lineup. Put Michael Porter Jr. in the starting lineup, put Bobo in the starting lineup, try to mix it up a little bit. Because your size can hit threes as well. In this Clippers team, they're deep, they're physical. They got superstars all over the place: Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Patrick Beverly, and who else they got? Montrezl Harrell, 6th man of the year. So talent everywhere, where the Nuggets are kind of lacking in that category, that department. Clippers -9 last game. It may even move up to -10, and I think I'm still comfortable on taking them. Jamal Murray doesn't show up every game, so I can't rely on that or on him to get good scoring. So Clippers will probably still rock with that if they're -10. All right, let's update these lines and see what we've got so far. Celtics -wow. Wow, 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 wow. I did not expect that. Vegas, wow, I cannot believe it. Celtics going from +2 and they lose the game last time, in Vegas corrects it to Celtics -1.5. They haven't even corrected the Heat game, the Heat spread. They're still at +5. So this Celtics team, man, -1.5, I'm still comfortable taking it. It's basically, you winning the game. But oh man, Vegas knows that Raptors win wasn't a convincing win. So we're on the same side as Vegas here. We are going to take Celtics -1.5. All right, Clippers -9.5. Not jumping too much. They'll probably still win by about 15. Probably not a 20-point win again, but still a convincing win because this Clippers team is without a doubt better than this Nuggets team. So Clippers -9.5 is good. I'm still confident. And when you look at this Bucks line, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to predict this one tomorrow. I looked at it, but it went from -1 to the Heat. So finally, it took them 4 games to correct their mistakes. They go from +5 the entire series to -1. Ooh, I'll still be comfortable taking it. Don't get me wrong. I'm still taking Heat -1 tomorrow, no doubt. But it's still funny. They're trying to get ahead of what this Celtics Raptors team or series is kind of turning into, the Heat Bucks series. So they're trying to get in front of that one. Celtics -1.5, I'm comfortable taking. Clippers -9.5, I'm still comfortable taking. So that is going to be our money maker for today. Celtics -1.5, Clippers -1.5. Bet it big. I'm feeling good about it. We do have college football on today. We got Marshall already up +7. They were -33.5. Big spreads opening day. No good teams playing. It's the first week of college football. Really, no good teams play. Really don't know what to expect from college football. Really just don't know what to expect. Is this right, Yeah, this isn't today, right? Okay, yeah, that's next week. I was like, Clemson's not playing today. I know they're not. Yeah, I mean, I really wouldn't even take any college games. I would probably take, these big pluses just because, not a lot of practice has been going on, kind of up in the air if college football was even going to be played this season. So I wouldn't bet too big on these big point spreads if the minuses anyway. I would take the underdogs. Houston Baptist versus North Texas. Yeah, take Houston Baptist +23.5. I mean, I would take the points in pretty much all of these games. Texas State, I would take +24. UAB over Florida, you probably take UAB +14. You probably take Duke over Notre Dame +20.5. It's just, the season was kind of jeopardized in the air, and plus, first game of the season, they don't even play. They play next week. But yeah, I would take these big point spreads. Baptist +23.5 and SMU +20 or Texas State +24. I would add those in a separate parlay if you wanted to do it, and maybe even Arkansas +19.5. So this will be our college football moneymaker today. I wouldn't bet these games heavy at all. These are not great college teams. They play, that's why they're playing right now because, usually the first week of college football is not the great teams playing. And then you don't have the Big Ten playing and just all that. And then it's all in conference and all that. So first week, take the big point spreads. Not a lot of practice going on. The season was kind of in jeopardy. That's kind of why my heart is not in college football this year, just because we're not going to get college football playoffs, so we're not going to be able to talk about, who's number 4 and who's number 5, who's going to get in and all that. So it's truly unfortunate what happened to college football, so we just have to kind of suck it up and focus all of our attention on the NFL, which I will also be taking the big point spreads. I will probably not be taking any favorites the first week of the football season. I haven't checked any lines. We are going to save that for our big day on Thursday when we can finally talk about some point spreads and all that good stuff. So, yeah, our moneymaker official. Celtics -1.5 and Clippers -9.5. And then our unofficial moneymaker for college football would be Houston Baptist +23.5, Texas State +24, and Arkansas +19. Alrighty, that is going to do it for today. We're back here tomorrow, noon Eastern, at twitch.tv/takesbyfans, breaking down another NFC division, continuing our NFL refresher, and breaking down the NBA playoff games from tomorrow. So thanks for coming out. Thanks for watching. And follow me on Twitter. Be a part of the conversation at takesbyfans. And we will see you tomorrow.